and I want some joint in that damn thing.
Oh, hallelujah.
I'll never go to church with you.
You mentioned at one point it looks like they had used what's called movie paint. And it's got a very milky surface to it. Could you tell us a little bit about what movie paint is like?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not sure I don't know if they would have used expensive automotive lacquer on it. They might have used just scenic paint because they didn't know. First of all, when they painted it, it was for the pilot, so they didn't even know that the show was going to be signed or not. I mean, they all had an idea with Shirley in it that they would definitely do at least one season. Uh-huh. So I don't know if it was painted with. I can tell you the colors though. I mean, I know the colors were. The white was what they call TV white, and the black was what they call TV black. And it because they couldn't get. Film can't capture the full range that the eye can capture. Mm-hmm. And so the white was always, I mean, if you look at the TV shows, you can see it too, that all the white in the TV show, all the white in the TV shows is almost like a greenish beige almost. Mm-hmm. It's like beige with a slight green cast to it. And that was, that wouldn't overdrive the camera. And then it would also make the whites of people's eyes and their teeth pop white. Their teeth would overexpose, and the teeth would look whiter, and it was all part of the glamour thing. I mean, that started way back when Technicolor first came in. Yeah. So that's when film white and TV white and then TV black also was. But it's possible that the original paint was not meant to last too long, you know?
Yeah.
We don't know if it was the actual scenic paint that they would use to paint scenery. Uh-huh. Then they'd have to touch it up a lot.
Yeah, well, they painted it many times. There's no question there.
And then of course we know too that for Helter Skelter they painted the whole darn bus white. Yeah, but that I'm sure was just white scene paint or TV white scene paint. They use that in films too.
It was white on the bottom, and they put forest green on the top, and they painted the wheels green.
Oh, okay.
So when it left that show, who knows what it was painted? You know.
I think they said that it was that before or after Apple's Way. I never saw a show in Apple's Way when it was on, but
yeah, it was.
They said that it turned up in Apple's Way also.
It was after Apple's Way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the Helter Skelter was the last thing they did to it. So they totally tore up the inside too, because the inside was just completely trashed.
Yeah.
In Helter Skelter, the garbage everywhere and everything else.
We were talking about Meredith Baxter Birney's version of, which song was it?
It's Time I Knew You Better.
Correct.
Yeah.
David Cassidy released the Partridge Family's version of that in stereo on his Old Trick New Dog album.
Right.
It was a 2 CD box set, which I'll show the fans some pictures of that. I still have a sealed copy. When he went back into Screen Gem's archives for the music, I'm sure there was many things in there that they recorded, and why Sony does not go back and do a 50th anniversary box set is beyond belief. Because there's such a demand. If someone's going to pay $10,000 for Volume 1 of the Screen Gems recordings, you can best bet that there would be a profit margin in that for them.
The second they did a box set, it would go out on torrents, and all the pirates, it would be downloaded, and they would never see a penny. They never get a penny back on the money they put into putting the box together or whatever else. That's why I promised the Partridge Group a long time ago. the Come On Get Happy, the forum and stuff. I said that,
Yeah.
you know, when our show gets done and we're making money, I will go in and I'll do a box set release and you know, engineer it and everything and master it and make sure that it's done. And I'll do it at a loss just for the fans because, but that's what it'll be. It'll be a loss, and no record company's going to do anything like that at a loss.
Yeah, but would you really even need a license for something like that? Because it sounds like the Screen Gems records weren't mass produced. It's not like you took a copy of the Partridge Family album and you repressed it on red vinyl. And
the problem is that Screen Gems is owned by Sony, so it's owned by the same people who bought, you know, Bell Records and bought Columbia CBS Records, and you know, because Bell Records went the way of Arista, because basically that's what they did. They gave Clive Davis Bell Records, which he didn't want, and then he turned it into Arista, and then Arista was CBS, and then when CBS sold out, it all went to Sony. So Sony owns all versions of the Partridge Family and everything else. So
wow.
They own the Screen Gems records too. Although I don't think they have a copyright notice on them. They don't, because it was a limited pressing release just for the kids in the show, and maybe Shirley to take home and rehearse too a little bit.
We could also go down that avenue, down Partridge Lane or down Memory Lane. The Laurie House Partridge Family double record set. That was sold out of the state of New York, and it was a television offer. And it looks like it has no licensing stamp on there whatsoever. My question would have been, how did they get away with doing that?
It might have been done when Bell was in between Arista and Clive Davis didn't care. Or they might have paid a small royalty fee to Bell or to and it just, but most of those releases were all legit, you know, except for like the obvious bootleg ones. But there were very few. I don't think there were very few record bootlegs.
Well, hold on to those Screen Gems for dear life, because you're the lifeline over here. If we find that bus, you can best bet the next step is going for a box set license.
Okay.
Now, when you were in the music industry, I don't know if you ever bumped into the session artists and the musicians that worked on the actual Partridge Family, like the Ron Hinklin singers.
We met Mike Melvoin when we were in Hollywood. Me and Mike were over at Mike Melvoin's house a couple times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, at a couple of his concerts and stuff, yeah.
Really?
And whenever he'd do a jazz concert in Vegas, we'd go see him. And and then I spent a lot of time on the phone with Bob Kovac, who was the engineer, and he told me how the records were all made and the mics used and outboard gear and how he set everything up and stuff. He was really, really great guy.
That's amazing.
And so around 84, 85, I guess I spent a lot of time with him on the phone. And then who else? Mike has talked to John Baylor. Because he was friends with Cynthia Lennon, who was, you know, who's still John's wife and stuff. So yeah, we talked to them, and who else?
I'm friends with Tom.
Oh, and Mike talked to Max Bennett and Jim Hugert, who was on the David Cassidy solo stuff, and then Joe Osborne. He got to meet Joe Osborne a couple times.
Really?
So
Wow.
Spent a lot of time on the phone with Joe Osborne. So yeah, we knew a lot of the guys. And it was really neat. It was neat to know. Oh, Hal Blaine, talked with Hal Blaine on the phone many times. And he was sending us jokes up till the very end. We were on his mailing list, and he would send out these really cute little postcards with funny jokes and stuff on them. So.
Hal Blaine was unbelievable. I'm in the Hal Blaine Facebook group, and there's the admin on there just talks about how Hal would write back to everybody, He was
Mm-hmm.
even if you weren't famous, even if he didn't know you for a hole in the wall, he would treat everyone like human beings. There's a lot of jerks in Hollywood, but he wasn't one of them.
Oh
And,
no, none of those
None
guys
of those
were. And they were all just jokers. I mean, because it was such a high pressure studio situation. Being a studio musician, you'd go in and you'd do like, oh my God, I'm going to do a Mission Impossible show. Oh no, and you had to play all these just crazy things
on the spot
with every note written out, and they would. And you'd have to crack jokes. You just have to do funny stuff all the time. Like there was one time Tommy Tedesco played a chart upside down.
Yes,
he was playing the chart upside down, and someone flipped it over because he was reading it perfectly upside down and stuff. We were talking about, me and Mike were talking about Glen Campbell, how he couldn't read music at all. And what he would do is he would go in and on all his sessions, all those early sessions, especially with Phil Spector and stuff, they'd have at least 3 guitarists, sometimes 4. So what he would do is he would mess around like he was setting up his tone and everything else during the first run through and pretend like he was playing and he wasn't playing. But after hearing the tune once, he could play it perfectly. And then he would join in on the when they were ready to go recording. He knew the tune inside and out, and the other guys were still reading the charts. So yeah, it was a great time. I mean, we were really privy to a lot of incredible music. He said that they would cut the rhythm tracks for a Partridge album in one marathon session.
Oh yeah,
because they were under such constraints to get out so much material.
Huh.
And he said that it was just crazy that they would go into overtime and stuff, and they would go till 1 or 2 in the morning till it was all done, and then they would have it's usually like 14 or 15 tracks for an album because only 11 would make it on, so they had extra tracks and stuff to choose from and stuff.
Well, here's a trivia question for you, and you might know the answer to this. A lot of people will say that Shirley Jones sang on the tracks in the television show, but her voice was not on the albums that were actually pressed. Is that?
Well, yeah. Bob said that she was there and she recorded every song.
Yeah.
She showed up
and
she recorded a track on every song because she had to contractually, because she was contracted to Bell Records. And what they would do is on the TV show, Bob would mix her a little bit louder, but it was still mostly Jackie Ward.
Yeah.
And Jackie's back and forth with Tom Baylor because they would sing both high parts. One pass, Tom would do the high part, and the second pass, Jackie would do the high part. And they used to switch the vocals and stuff. But Shirley's vocal was in. You can hear her on "I Think I Love You" coming in toward the end, and you can hear her also in "To Be Lovers" and "I Really Want to Know You." You can hear her in there, but usually after that, when you heard, you thought you were hearing Shirley, it was Jackie Ward, because Jackie Ward was able to nail Shirley.
Oh yeah,
she could nail her voice exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's a nice resolution, because why would you put starring Shirley Jones on a product and sell it to the public and not have her voice on it? That didn't make any sense to me.
Well, she was the star of the TV show.
Of the TV show.
And the records were a whole different thing, which is why, I think actually, even the bus, they weren't even allowed to use the bus after the first album. The first album had the pictures of the bus, and it had them in the outfits, in their performing outfits, the burgundy velour or whatever.
Right.
And it was after that Screen Gems wanted to charge Bell Records for the use of the costumes and use of the picture of the bus.
Oh my God.
Bell told him, take a flying leap.
No wonder we No wonder we didn't get any album covers with a picture of the bus on it.
No, no. The only one was the back of the first, the first album, and yeah, and that's the Bill told him take a flying leap.
Ah!
It was hysterical. And they wear the street clothes, and so they show up in their street clothes and bring the street clothes to the photo sessions, and that's what they wore from then on.
Have a good night, and it was unbelievable speaking to someone who was a part of that production. And I think even though it didn't turn into a TV show that was produced, you can say you still got to meet Leslie Jones. So
Leslie Jones.
Leslie Jones. I met Shirley
Shirley Jones.
Oh yeah,
happens after an hour.
that was the high point of my life. I really did enjoy that. I enjoyed working her there, and it was great, producing her and engineering her and making music and stuff and mixing all that stuff. It was she did a really good job on those 3 songs. What a Wonderful World. I challenge anyone to listen to that and not cry.
Oh, I know. It's great to hear about your experiences with the cast from the show and all the background musicians, singers, songwriters. Thank you once again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it. And good meeting you and talking with you. And, have a great Partridge night.
Yes.
Okay. Keep on trucking.
Keep on trucking. Leslie
All
Bell,
right, you too.
live on the scene. All right. Cut.
All right.
Cut.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Come on, get happy.
Come on, get happy.
See ya. All right. And now I can cut.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait. What's our line? Wait.
People passing by, I see friends shaking hands, saying how do you do. They're really saying I love you. I hear babies cry.